Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to episode number 10 of the SimRacing Expo Podcast. My name is Luke Crane. I am, of course, your host today, and I'm joined by Michael Teichmann, who is an employee of Cube Controls. But I'll let him do his own introduction. So, Michael, let us know who you are and what you do.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michael. I am working currently at Cube Controls, social media manager, sponsorships and partnerships manager. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, you're not just, sponsorship manager and social media manager. You also are a sim racer in your own right. So maybe give a little bit of a background as to what you've achieved in your career so far.
Yeah. I've been doing sim racing for almost over 15 years now. I started my sim racing career back in Mexico. That's where I'm from. And back in 2014, 2015, I was doing a lot of championships in South America and North America. And I decided to make my own team after switching teams here and there, and basically just doing a lot of things for fun. And back in 2020 is when things got very seriously for me. I moved back to Europe with my team. I got a chance to be part of a lot of cool stuff. I work with Fanatec. I did a lot of stuff with them in the SRO side of things, the very first SRO championship. Um, I did work for a SX group. I was the team manager for the esports and Falcon Sim Racing team, an amazing experience, as well as continue with my team to the very first time for myself, represent my own home country, the F5 Motorsport Games 2022, as well as a team manager for the esports and for my own sim racing team, accomplish some championship as a team and as a driver.
Yeah, that's amazing. Representing your country in something that is for most people just a hobby, right? A bit of fun, but to actually represent your country. How did that come about? Because not many people have got that on their resume.
Yeah, to be honest, it was a very intense situation. It was very good. I was actually working with you in at the Red Bull Ring the weekend, 24 hours before registration closes, and after here and there, a lot of problems that we had with the federation and the championship and everything that was going on. I received a phone call 24 hours before registration closes, as I said, um, telling me, "Hey, the place still up to? You want to go?" And I said, "Yes, sure." But I needed to select a car and I needed to do everything, and I only had 24 hours. And I was working at the DTM with our trailer that we had there with together with SX and Race Room, and I had to be there late to kind of test the cars and see what was the best. And in such a short notice, I ended up choosing BMW. And yeah, that's had a month, less than a month to prepare. But yeah, it was a very intense time.
That's amazing, mate. No, congratulations on that. Just looking in the background, is that a Michigan State helmet by any chance?
Unfortunately, not. It's Munich Cowboys. I was
Oh,
coaching the team last year, and yeah, it
oh,
was another experience.
mini Cowboys. I'm a Cowboys fan.
I know I'm a Detroit Lions fan. I
Oh,
live in
okay, got
Detroit for many years. I need to stay loyal to the state.
No, fair enough. Right, well, I'm just going to put the Cube Controls website up on the screen so people can have a little look at what, what Cube Controls does. But let's start off with the sim racing's impact on real motorsports, and of course vice versa. And let's talk a little bit about Cube Controls products because you've got a new job now. You work in partnership management for Cube Controls. But let's just talk about the company a little bit and what they do.
Yeah, the company started in 2016 with some friends. That one was a former race car driver. The other one is a very passionate about sim racing. And in the back of the shop, they were doing bicycles, and they decided to make steering wheel for fun. And that very first steering wheel, it was very well sold. And they were like, you know what, let's do a company. And with them together, with all the background that they have in sim racing and real motorsport, they decided to do a lot of things together and a lot of projects, and that's how Keep Controls came to life. And in terms of the big impact that sim racing has had in motorsports for us as a company is that um, people have seen the quality that Keep Controls has, and we got approached by a lot of companies. Two of them that I can mention for sure is the Honda and Yas, which together with them we developed the wheel for the real Honda Civic TCR together with Yas, and we made a sim racing version of it, which is our GTX2. And the other good and very long partnership that we had going on is with Mercedes. We did the Mercedes Track Series for the GT2 car. Alongside with the same wheel, we did the Mercedes AMG steering wheel for the sim. And we've been developing we're the very first brand that has come up with a dedicated steering wheel that is just exclusively for sim racing or for esports, and it's not a replica or not a one-off or steering wheel for a racing car. It's just pure esports.
Honestly, I'm a professional podcaster at this point. I managed to change to the Mercedes rim right as you was talking about it, which is fantastic. Some really nice looking equipment as well. And, in sim racing, it's very important not only to look the part and, with you actually replicating what they have in real life, it looks identical, right? But it has to, when I first started sim racing, it was almost like the steering wheels were like toys. And don't get me wrong, they were great for what they were back in the day, right? But now it is just at a different level in terms of what we are seeing, from just in people's day-to-day sims at this point.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, you'd be surprised by the amount of esport drivers that they're racing with a very good basic rim, and then you have people that are very passionate about sim racing. They want to have the most exclusive, brand new, with all the available features that are available on the market. It's crazy how much it changes from person to person.
Really, we just want flashy lights, right? We just want the flashy lights and loads of buttons, and that's pretty much it for us sim racers. That's for me anyway. That's how it works for me. Let's talk a little bit, like you've just mentioned, of course, that with Honda and the Honda Civic TCR, and then you've got the Mercedes AMG as well on board. What have been the sort of, maybe the biggest sticking points of going from real motorsport to sim racing, or maybe it's just been plain sailing? What's been the biggest positives taken from that journey?
To be honest, it has helped us come up with the technology and to implement everything that we have learned in motorsports to put it in sim racing and vice versa. It has become a vicious cycle where we use all the technology and all the resources to come up with this motorsport product, and then we integrate all this technology into sim racing, and then in sim racing we go into do mass production and we do all the masses, and then when we go to motorsport, we make sure that it's the most perfect piece of equipment that we can do for that specific project.
Because there's more people in sim racing using the wheels, right? Just generally, if loads of people are buying this wheel, there's only a certain amount of people that are driving a Mercedes AMG in a race car, right, in the world. But in terms of sim racing, there's lots of people that own this wheel. Have they managed to find different things that sim racers have kind of gone, oh, well, actually, you could probably do this a bit better, and it's actually transitioned into the real world?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we had a lot of people, a lot of partners, and a lot of esports teams that we've been in talks to, and helping us a little bit develop. And of course, we hear everything that our community has to say, and a lot of, for example, a little bit the position of the grips, the material that we use for our grips, the shifters a little bit, because we're using like motorsport grade shifters, and we try to replicate them and be useful for sim racing. But then again, like maybe a position is a bit too high or too low, and we hear all this feedback. The position of which button where it should be. We try to have everything ergonomically the best for everyone, rather than have your hand off the steering wheel to be able to play with the button or play with the encoder and lose some time, especially when you're at a very high level.
Yeah, like my sort of level. I'm always losing time because I'm reaching for buttons, of course. Yeah, what are your ambitions to bring motorsport a little bit closer to sim racing? I think at this stage, 2025, we for the last 10 years, it's always been about, how it's the most realistic esport. In FIFA, if you're good at FIFA, you can't then just go on a football pitch and bend it top corner. And very similarly to like Call of Duty and stuff like that, it's not real. You can't replicate it in real life. But what about how are we able to make it a little bit closer in terms of real world motorsport to sim racing?
I think, to be honest, the level of competitions and the level that you've been able to show. I mean, you had in the past drivers like you have Moritz Lerner, you have Kevin Sigi, Sebastian Job. They're elite sim racers, and you put them in a race car, and they're already within the top five in terms of lap times. And you have drivers that just jump in and they're able to compete. And I think for us, like that big transition is to be able to have a piece of equipment that not only is approved by race car drivers or by the manufacturer itself, but it's also approved by sim racers that kind of help you be more close to that real life experience.
Yeah, add Chris Lullum to that. He's gone into the GT World Challenge and been unbelievable, actually. Let's talk about the feedback. We just touched on it very briefly there. So sim racers give feedback. They love to, they're not shy about giving any feedback, are they? As old sim racers, especially if it's negative. But what's the differences between real world motorsport and sim racing in terms of feedback? Is it more difficult to get it from the real life drivers, or is it the same, or is it more with sim racers?
I think it's a little bit of a variation. For example, when we're doing a project that we're going to be in, we have to be FIA approved, or the steering wheel has to be a legal minimum amount of weight or maximum amount of weight. And there, for example, you're already working with all the feedback that you get with the FIA directly, and then together with the manufacturer and the teams that are going to be using this product. So you have all the feedback that from 30 plus drivers in real life, plus the team, plus the engineers, plus what the FIA wants you to do, and you try to get that. And when it comes to like a sim racing product, of course, you hear a lot of people that are interested, people that want to have a change, people that say, "Hey, everything looks great, leave it as it is." So I think the sim racer wants something that is, as you said, a bit more flashy, something that's functional, that it's easy to set up. You just plug it in, able to race, go ahead, spend hours and hours and hours and hours driving until you reach that maximum level that you can do with that product, or that you reach the next level in terms of performance. And in terms of like real motorsport, like I said, it's just a lot of people, a lot of eyes, a lot of heads involved, and it's can be a bit tricky sometimes with the feedback from them.
Yeah, what have you noticed? Is obviously your job was you're more of a consumer, I guess, prior to working with Cube Controls. What have you noticed that you may have taken for granted as a consumer? Now you're working sort of behind the curtain.
How much time and how much there is involvement in the development and the actual feedback that we as a company are getting from everywhere, from like I said, from sim racers, from real drivers, from us intern, from maybe other competitors that maybe we've been in touch, or that we want to be in touch so we can develop something together. Or like we, as since we don't have a wheelbase, for example, we are speaking with all these other manufacturers to be able to be integrated into their ecosystem, and we need to always talk to them and see um, how we can integrate our products into their wheelbases, or how we can attach our product into their QR. So it's a lot of stuff that never thought it would be that detail in terms of how much we cooperate, how much companies talk with each other.
Right, I'm going to put you on the spot now. I'm going to get the website back up on the screen. And which is your favourite Cube Controls product? Which one are we going to have a look at? And then I'll let you sort of explain the best bits about it and all that good stuff. Which one should we look for?
I have two. Right now, for example, I've been driving for the last couple of months with the Mercedes AMG steering wheel. For me, it's because I come from real life racing, so I'm used to having a wider wheel. Um, a lot of people don't like a wider wheel because they believe that they're driving more like in this way, like a boat kind of stuff. For me, I really like because it helps me replicate what I experience in real life, and gives me a little bit more of feedback in how I drive. In terms of economics, I really like the wheel. Like it has everything that I need. I don't need like 1,000 buttons to change every little setting. And the other wheel that I love a lot is our F-Core Evo, especially because how simplistic, and with we upgrading it with our motorsport shift materials and putting metal encoders, how much it increased the level of how much you can do out of the wheel, and how simplistic it is. It's something that you plug it in and just go from the get go. And especially having our Formula style, be able to modify so much in a shifter. I was amazed beforehand and after, especially talking with our Quanda guys when they were driving with the wheel for the N24, how much you can tweak and how much you can extend the shifter to match it perfectly to what you want.
No, fair play, mate. Fair play. Let's talk about the latest visions for your brand. Then, so obviously, you're working with real world, manufacturers, Honda now, Mercedes. What are the visions of the company moving forward?
We want to bring not only the two worlds together, since for the SimRacing Expo, we will bring a lot of new stuff. We're gonna show a lot of stuff that we've been working in the last years. We will bring more motorsport closer to sim racing. We will bring something that's more unique for the consumer, as well as being able to put these brands closer to the consumers and to the fans of those brands. And we will show how much we have evolved. Next year is our 10-year anniversary. We have a brand new identity. We want to push more, and in the next couple of months, we're gonna start showing the new direction that we're going, and a lot of people will be very, very interested to see where we're actually going with it.
So at the Sim Expo in Dortmund this year, what can they expect from you? You just sort of teased on it, but are we gonna be seeing loads of new stuff? That's what I want the expo to be every year. I just want it to be loads of new stuff.
All I can say is you will have to see at the sky. That's a little bit of a teaser that I can say. The other thing I can say is you will see everything that we've done in motorsports in the last 1.5 years. All the products, you'll be able to see them, what we have worked with, and you'll be able to experience firsthand. We have something very crazy that it took us a lot of time, and it's a very crazy idea that we had just to showcase and to show people what when you take your sweet time to do something, you do it perfect, and it will blow people's mind when they see it.
No, fair play. Okay, I'm going to ask you a couple of final questions. Let's say, and again, this is it's not technically about cube controls. It's kind of more about the ecosystem as a whole in sim racing. But what have been in the last 10 years the biggest jumps in hardware? Do you think?
Everything from wheelbases. Since the moment that we got this new direct drive ecosystem from Fanatec with the CSLDD and the GTDD, everyone jumped on that, and you see now a lot of companies that were you were not expecting to jump into a direct drive world that they did as well with the pedals. You have so many competitors out there. You have so many brands, and looks like every year there's more people that jump into the pool, and it's amazing to see that we're living in this golden era of sim racing in terms of equipment and in terms of all the platforms as well. I mean, back when I started, you have like 3, 4, maybe 3 games maximum, and you really need to be good in all of three in order to kind of be exposed and kind of be able to participate in big events. And nowadays, you have so many, and there's still more coming up, that it's very difficult to master everyone. You need to be kind of a little bit of a hybrid. You need to be able to compete in multiple sims at a time, but you cannot just be an expert in one. You need to really put a lot of time and dedication to it.
What do you see from the next 10 years?
I still believe that in the next 10 years, motorsport in real life will be a little bit less, and it will be more in the virtual world. We will have a lot of competitions in the virtual world, and all these youngsters that are coming up, they will have the chance in real motorsports. But I'm pretty sure that sim racing will be the future of motorsports.
Well, excellent stuff. Finally, one for you then. Well, I say one for you. You're the only other person here. But what does the future hold for you? Are you going to continue to compete? What's the next championship for you to take part in?
Right now, I'm doing a little bit of the DSRC championships together with some friends. Now that I want to spend a little bit of time driving again, after being a team manager for quite some time and not being able to enjoy it, just being behind the screen, pushing and telling everyone what to do and what not to do. I want to drive a little bit. I know that I'm not esports level, but I enjoy sim racing so much, and being fully time back in a sim racing company doing a lot of sim racing, it just pushes me to be like, hey, just drive and push and see what you can do.
Perfect stuff, mate. Where can we find Cube Controls? Where's the website? Where is the socials?
Everything. We're on Twitter, Instagram, and on very, very recently we're gonna be as well in TikTok at Cube Controls, and our website is cubecontrols.com. But stay tuned, because we have a lot of new exciting stuff coming in the next months.
Wonderful. I'm glad I'm not the only person that still calls Twitter Twitter. Thank you very much, Michael, for your time. Really do appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you at the Expo later in the year. And for everybody at home, if you have any ideas of who you want to see on the podcast, as usual, please leave your comments below. If you have any questions as well, please leave those comments below. Make sure you leave a like and make sure you hit that subscribe button. That's number 10 in the books. We'll see you next time for episode 11.